I spent the last 16 years as one of the vice presidents of innovation at Cisco, so I'm very, very familiar with the technology side and the messaging that Kim was talking about and others. So what you've heard so far is we've heard about the economy, which looks pretty good. We've heard about finances and money and the fact that the consumer is going to spend. And of course, from Kim and Cisco, we heard about technology. What I want to talk to you about is the human side. I want to talk to you about the people of this city, your people, and the fact that we're moving into a new era. You're going to hear me repeat that message several times. It's really important. We are moving from the technology era into the data era. You'll have heard of big data, and I'll spend just a couple of minutes talking about that. And it's not that the technology era goes away. Silicon Valley is here, and it's going to be here for many, many years to come. But the move into the data era is as fundamental as the other eras that I'm showing here. The major shift from the mechanical era, the era of machines. And then not too long ago, a few centuries maybe, a few decades maybe, we moved into the technology era, the computing era. And now we are undergoing as big a shift as those previous two, if not bigger. It is predicted that the Internet of Everything, the data era, is going to be 30 to 35 times greater impact than the Internet had. So this really is a phenomenal shift. A couple of words about big data, however, and the importance of analytics I'll come to in a moment. It's not just about volume. It certainly is about volume. We created more data in 2012 than in all of human history combined, up to that point. We have more data than we know what to deal with. But it's not just about volume. It's also where the data is coming from. It's coming from millions and millions, billions of sensors everywhere in the world. It's occurring in real time. This isn't data that you capture and process at the end of the month. This is things that are happening right here, right now. And one of the other studies we did in my days of Cisco, and think about this, 99%, actually 99.4 according to our math, of things in the world that you could usefully connect, that could give you useful data, are not connected today. Look around you. You have a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop. If you're a real geek, you have a fancy watch. And that's about it. 3, 4 things. That's pretty good. But now think of all the things in front of you that are not connected. Your papers aren't connected. The cup is not connected. The desk, your shoes, your clothes, your car. These are being connected in their billions every year. And it's going to have a phenomenal impact. The data that streams off of those devices is critically important. You heard Wayne talk about how Visa are using some of their data to gain an insight into what their customers are thinking and doing. We all in this room, I'm sure, are doing similar things. We cannot afford to simply allow data, big data, to overwhelm us. And it will. The volume of data is phenomenal. We have to take hold of data. We have to harness it and use it to our benefit and to the benefit of society and the people around us. And that fundamentally comes down to analysis. You have to analyze the data to make sense of it and then make good business decisions based upon it. This picture kind of brings it all together. The Internet of Things, or the Internet of Everything, that's the physical level. That's the technology that sits in our cars and our smartphones and increasingly in our clothes and bodies and everywhere else. Those things, those technologies, are what provide the data to us. They give us the data. Those are the sensors. That's what we call big data. You then have to analyze the data. to make sense of it. Otherwise, it will just flood over you and swamp you. The analytics give you insights, and the insights are there for the purposes of making business decisions. And in particular, today, it's about innovation. Our research shows that innovation is going to be one of the key drivers of success going forward. Why? Because we're adding billions and billions of things at the top there. The opportunity to take that data and innovate and create new services is phenomenal. And so innovation is critical. And that will lead to the results that we're looking for, whether that's money or other forms of benefit. I wanted to share I've got 3 very simple, very quick examples, and I'm sure all of you in this room could think of others. But to give you a sense of some of the things that the world is starting to innovate with data. This was from a Harvard professor who cites big data and analytics as being one of the key cures for his wife's cancer. And you can see here his quote at the bottom. They took a variety of data, 10,000 Asian females, I assume his wife was Asian, and simply asked some fairly simple questions. What treatments were those individuals given? What was the effect of that treatment? And using the analytics of big data, not 5 or 6 patients, or 10 or 20, but 10,000 patients, was then able to deduce what was the most beneficial treatment for his wife. Fortunately, she is now completely cured. Royal Dutch Shell, again, vast amounts of information that they're gathering from oil fields. Now, they've always gathered data. Every one of you in this room gathers data, but we're now seeing data in volumes we've never seen before. And that allows them to compare and contrast, to perform analytics across the globe. And as they state at the bottom, we're drilling in deep water, it costs $100 million. No one wants to be looking in the wrong place. Gathering as much data as you can, as much relevant data as you can, and performing analytics has huge financial impacts. This is one from the world of sports, where they're taking, again, the ability to capture data in ways that we've never done before, putting sensors on the players, knowing exactly how they're moving, how fast do they run across the field, what's their acceleration rate at the beginning of the game versus halfway through the game versus at the end of the game. Think of this as rather like a game of chess. At any point in time, the coach, the manager, either live during the game or afterwards, can look at what's going on and start making decisions. Do I pull that player? Do I change my strategy? Or to post-review, how did it go? The future talent base is what it's all about. We have to look at the human side of the data era. Business decisions are based upon information. I guess that's pretty obvious. If you make a business decision without information, it's simply guesswork. So information is the fundamental driver of being able to make intelligent business decisions. But it is about this yin and yang. It is about the technology, which San Francisco and the Bay Area is known for, combined with the skilled workforce to take advantage of that technology and the data that it provides. We're in an era of what I call hyper-innovation. Incredible increase of innovation, where we need to be hyper-connected, hyper-aware of what our customers are thinking and doing. Back to some of the things you were looking at, Wayne. Truly knowing, minute by minute, what our customers are doing and thinking, and being able to adjust to their needs and desires, to be flexible. And it is about constantly learning, both at the individual level and at the corporate level, to be learning about our environment, about our customers, how our products are being used, and so forth. What we need, therefore, going forward, again, both as a community as a whole and as individual companies in this room, we need a new set of data-savvy skills. And we need it at several levels. We need what are now known as data scientists. These are the deep, technical, if you will, data technical individuals. The Jedi Masters, as I refer to them, of data. They understand data, and believe me, understanding data is not easy. To understand where it comes from, what it's really telling you. They can design and build the complex analytic models that we need to understand the world around us. And they can turn that data into actionable insights. They can help the business community turn those into actionable insights. But they can't do that alone. We also need data literate leadership. And I like to think of this rather like finance. Every business would say, I expect my leadership, all of them, to have an understanding of finance. There's a smaller set, maybe in certain industries, certain parts of my organization, if they're in sales or marketing, I expect them to have a deeper understanding of finance. And then, of course, I have my finance department, and I expect them to be pretty expert in that field. And within that department is where, in this case, the data scientists would reside. So we need the same thing now. We need our leadership to understand and be data savvy at a broad level. And we need data scientists who can go really deep and build those models for us. So when we look at building the talent pool for this city, what the University of the Pacific does, Pacific is the oldest credited university in California, formed in 1851. And I think, as Bob, you said, San Francisco knows the University of the Pacific through the dental school. It's one of the top dental schools in the world, formed, I think, in 1930. It's been in the city for many, many years. Just moved into a brand new building on 5th Street. But there's a lot more to the university than that. We have the audiology department. We have the College of the Pacific, where we're doing physics and chemistry and literature. The School of Computer Science and Engineering, the McGeorge Law School. So when we bring together all of our capabilities, both in Stockton, San Francisco, and Sacramento, we have a very broad range of capabilities to educate both the executive level all the way through to those deep scientists that I was referring to. Specifically, in regard to this conversation today, I'm responsible for the analytics program. And the Master of Analytics that we've now establishing, it launches this fall, specifically designed for working professionals. This is where we can train those data scientists, but still keep them in their jobs, because these are valuable people that you need to keep, but you also need to educate. There are not going to be enough data scientists in the world to meet demand. McKinsey project that by 2018, the demand for data scientists will outstrip supply by 60%. So there's a huge and growing demand for these individuals. And what we need to do, all of us, is take our existing workforce and educate them and develop them further. And that's what this program is designed to do. It will be a hybrid delivery. It will be in the classroom as well as online using modern technology, but always with the professor. And it's being offered through the campus right here in San Francisco. So very local and convenient for this community. Now, the second program we're also launching is the Executive Workshop Program. And this is where we'll be able to educate everybody in leadership positions around the role of data. And some of these things are particularly important. These are responsibilities that the data scientists do not have. They're responsible for building the data models. But the executives are the ones that are responsible at the corporate level. Things like data security. How long do you keep data? Or ethics. How do you use data? How do you build, motivate, and retain an analytics team? These are all executive responsibilities. And so by bringing that executive training and education together with the master's degree for the data scientists, we plan to enable you to take full advantage of data and analytics. But I wanted to leave you with a call to action, because it truly is time for action. All of the speakers here, the companies here, have formed, along with the Chamber, an innovation alliance so that we don't simply have a wonderful morning and then all go back to our jobs. We can actually take action to move forward. Make no mistake, the race is already begun. The data race is underway. Big data is happening. Kim was mentioning what's happening, IOE, things like that. It is already happening, and very, very fast. We here in Silicon Valley and San Francisco are privileged. We have established an environment where we are preeminent in the world. The world looks here for technological innovation, and they will continue to look here for technological innovation. But we must build upon that reputation to also become the place where the world looks for data and analytic expertise. So, today is just the beginning. In front of you, again, as Bob kicked off this morning, you have a card where you can put your questions or suggestions to the Innovation Alliance. Let us know how collectively we can help you as this world moves forward. We need to build on San Francisco and the Bay Area's supremacy in these areas and maintain our position. Thank you.